Okay, you're all set.
Very good. Thank you, Megan. All right, I'm going to call to order our city council meeting on the 20th of December. It is 7:02. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will lead us into that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Megan, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Beach,
Here.
Councilmember Colston,
Here.
Councilmember Brownrigg,
In the car.
Here.
Vice Mayor Ortiz,
Here.
Mayor O'Brien.
Here. Okay, then we have a report out from closed session. And actually from that.
Do you want me to do that?
Report? Okay, I wasn't sure if it's you or myself. All right.
I'll do it. So the council met in closed session and there's no reportable action. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. And then we have a few upcoming events. We have the first Memory Cafe of the New Year, which is going to be on Wednesday, January the 5th from 2 to 3:30 at the Peninsula Healthcare District and Fitness Center. The special activity for January is chair yoga, and refreshments will be provided. For more information, you can contact the Park and Rec Department at 650-558-7300. The holiday house decorating contest signups have ended, but you can check them out. The holiday lights map can be found on the Park and Rec website, Instagram, and Facebook. Just a reminder, the athletic fields are going to be closed until February for maintenance. The new Park and Rec registration system is up and running. So if you haven't already created a new account, please do so because you'll need that in order to enroll in our programs. The link can be found on the homepage of the city's Park and Rec page on the website. Finally, just a reminder, there is a position available for the Library Board of Trustees. So the applications are due on the 29th of December. So on that note, we're going to go into our presentations. We have 3 today, and we're going to start with an update on HIP housing. And we have, where'd you go? We have Laura Fanucchi this evening to do the presentation.
I'm on mute. Good evening.
Yeah. Hi, Laura. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. Yes. So tonight is our annual calendar contest presentation. I delivered today to City Hall your 2022 HIP housing calendar. It's the 20th year that we've been producing the calendar where we ask students kindergarten to 5th grade to draw a picture of their home and to write a statement about what their home means to them. We received over 100 entries this year, and we had the difficult choice of selecting the 12 winners. We have 2 winners from Burlingame. I'm not sure if one of them is on the call. She's a kindergartner, and her name is Pepper. I think they were planning on joining tonight.
Yes, I do see her name as an attendee.
Okay, great. And so I would like to invite Pepper to read her quote. She's featured on the month of March. And let's see where she is. There she is, Pepper.
Very good. Okay, so Pepper, you can unmute yourself and be able to speak.
You ready? Okay.
Hi. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Yes, we can hear you, Pepper.
Okay. I love my house because it's so beautiful and so powerful.
I love my house because it's so beautiful and so powerful.
And because my family is there and without them,
Because my family is there and without them, I'll be alone.
and I'd have to say
And I would have to say goodnight to myself.
Thank you so much, Pepper.
Thank you so much, Pepper. That was wonderful.
Great job, Pepper. We got to meet Pepper at our calendar contest party where we honored the 12 winners of the calendar. As you know, having a safe place to call home has been the mission of HIP Housing for almost 50 years. We're going to be celebrating our 50th year anniversary next year. We have about 18 Burlingame residents that are residing in home sharing matches currently. And we have 3 families in Burlingame, all 3 single moms with each a child each participating in our self-sufficiency program. We currently matched a caseworker who works for Life Moves. We were able to place him with a senior home provider on the coast. And then he referred one of his clients to our program, a gentleman who had been homeless for about 4 years. And with the housing support scholarship from Life Moves, they were also able to help him secure a job. And we were able to match him with a home provider on the coast. And so he's going to be utilizing a housing voucher to help support his rent for over a year. And while this match did take place in Burlingame, I think it just really highlights the partnerships between nonprofits for us to help just really provide a lot of support to members of our community. So I thank you for your continued support of our affordable housing programs. And I just want to wish you all a very happy and healthy holiday season. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Laura. We really appreciate everything you do. HIP Housing has been so successful, and it is nice to see that it's benefited many Burlingame residents.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks again. All right. Next is an update from the Measure I Oversight Committee, and I think we have Stephanie Lee this evening. So Stephanie, would you like to begin your presentation?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor O'Brien and council members. I'm Stephanie Lee, a member of the Measure I Citizen Oversight Committee since its inception in 2018. And our role is to review how Measure I funds are used. As a reminder for the public, Measure I allowed the city to collect a 0.25% sales tax with the intention, but not obligation, of using proceeds to fund an additional police officer, streets and sidewalk repairs, and debt service on our amazing community center that I love looking at every day. The committee met on November 8th via Zoom, and we reviewed the reports prepared by the finance director. We saw that the funds were spent where we expected them to be. And we asked questions on nearly every number on the report, and we were satisfied with the answers from the city manager and the finance director. We were really happy to see that the Measure I sales tax revenue was back to pre-COVID levels, despite half the fiscal year being during pre-vaccine and the other half during the vaccine rollout. So I thank council and staff for reminding residents to shop and eat locally. I think that succeeded. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Anyone have questions of Stephanie? No? Thank you very much, Stephanie, for that update. Greatly appreciated. Good job. All right, next on our list, we have the update on the community center, and we have our director Glomstad on the phone or on Zoom.
So hopefully you can
Such an exciting project, so look forward to seeing your presentation.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, good. I want to make sure you got the right one. So yes, it is really exciting, and it's been exciting the whole time, but in particular now, they're almost all enclosed. The windows are in. It's amazing. So I just have a little bit of an update, some fun pictures to look at. I focused more on interior pictures because we've done a lot of exterior. There's not much changing on the outside like it was when the walls were going up. But the picture you're looking at right now is from the park side. So if you were by the ball field, like the small ball field, looking towards the building from the courtyard. What this picture didn't have was our signature tree, but if you are in the park, you'll see it. It's doing very well, so it's very exciting. We are on schedule. I was really hoping to finish ahead of schedule or at least a little bit. But we've had some challenges, which I'll go into in a minute. But some of the great things that happens, obviously the steel is up, the underground parking is done, the lights are in. It's being used for staging now and storage of items. So a lot of stuff will be stored in there, especially with the weather that's coming. Inside, the walls have they've been taped, the drywall's in. They've actually started painting the colors on some of the walls in some of the rooms. All the concrete paving and exterior of the walls is going in. They've started actually painting some of the wall colors on the outside. You can't see them yet because it's kind of tucked in by the parking lot, but that is going on. Like I said, the interior painting is going in. The landscaping is going to start. They're going to be moving a bunch of the trailers onto the parking lot so they can start doing the landscaping along the street side, because there's a lot of work, and that's right now where the trailers are. And then in May is our goal to have our soft opening and move-in. So they will be moving in a lot of the furniture purchases and things, but all the other stuff that we've kept and are reusing, we will need to move in. So we're going to have like a soft opening, which of course you guys will all be invited to, but we won't be quite ready to open for the public. Our goal is to be open June 13th is when our summer program starts. So there will be quite a few activities leading up to that time frame. This is still all subject to a lot of different things, and it could change, but this is what our big plan is right now. If you look at the pictures on the right side, so the top one is actually our lobby. So remember in the old building, you had to sit in the hallways when you were waiting for something. Well, we actually have an interior lobby, and that's what you're looking straight at. To the right is where you would walk into the building, and the pictures being taken where the hallway goes down to Kids Town and the makerspace and the teen scene. The below picture is the makerspace. So you'll see some wall color on the left wall, and the right are the windows that look out. So the makerspace looks out on the street side. So we've had some good successes as we've been moving along, and I'll go into the budget in a minute, but we are on budget and on schedule. The main structure is 80% complete. The HVAC installation is complete. The paving 60% complete. So there's a lot of asphalt that's been done, but they'll be putting a whole nother coat in to finish it off. But the first base layer's in. The building is electrified. So this was one of our big hurdles with PG&E. And so we were very excited to have them electrified. The other thing is, even though it's electrified, we still have to get power through all of the building. And by the end of January, the whole building inside should have power to all the outlets that will need it. And then today, I didn't put it on here, but we got approval for the generator. So we were a little worried about that approval process, but we are able to use the generator if it became needed. And then the PV panel installation is started. So one of the pictures will come up too, and you'll see the PVs going in on the roof, and they should be done by mid-January. And I'm sure you've heard a lot of the challenges, and COVID obviously affects many things. So we have had some increased costs of materials. We've had a challenge getting materials, or there's a long lead time, and sometimes you just can't get them. So there's been some change out of some of the materials to be able to try and keep on schedule. Some of those rains caused some problems with the soil. We couldn't get some of the asphalt down in time, and wet dirt is bad dirt. But we're working through it. We've also had some extended hours to stay on schedule. A lot of it is trying to get the materials in time, and then they come late, but you need that to be able to do the next thing. But again, we are still on budget. And then, of course, getting the whole building closed before there's significant rain. And that last big rainstorm we had, the building came through quite well, and it's almost completely enclosed right now. The pictures on the right, so the top picture, well, I'm going to start with the bottom picture. I should have flipped them around. But the bottom picture is looking on the right side of that, you'll see those are going to be the stairs. That's what the stairs will sit on, that will go up to the upstairs lobby. So what you're looking at is the park view. So if you were looking through those glass windows from the upstairs lobby, you'll be looking out in the ball fields. That picture on top is when you're in that upstairs lobby looking back towards the front. The room on the right side is the musical arts studio. The opening that's kind of like at the just to the left of that actually is the enrichment room opening, and then the hallway that goes down to the fine arts studio, as well as the dance fitness room. And on the very left on the top is actually just a little corner of the senior lounge. Budget. So what you're looking at here is all the numbers on the left column are exactly what you saw the first time we did this, and they haven't changed. The middle column are the change orders. Some of it has been, we've had to do some design of some of the items. One of the things under architects that came up was, this building was designed before COVID. And so the technology, while it's vastly improved, one of the things, because we do have donors for our sponsors for some of our spaces, we've upgraded the upstairs meeting room as well as the community hall to be able to do in-person and Zoom meetings. So it has the sound system and all the technology to do that. We thought it would be a good use of some of those funds to make that happen. The construction manager, the project is going to go longer, so that's part of that change. We've also, some of the pictures outside when we do the drone pictures, that was another item that was added on to the contract. The general contractor change orders are just different items, things that weren't accounted for in the plans that we've been working through. That the field fees, testing, temp facilities have some changes. Some of the testing had to do with the soils in particular, and the testing of the soils to make sure they were compacted after we had the rains. The FF&Es right now, which is the furnishings, fixtures, and equipment, are within budget. The good news is the photovoltaic panels are actually came in under budget. So that money was added back into the contingency amount. So if you look, our contingency, the budget number is the same. We've just been drawing down on the contingencies, but we have a very healthy contingency number right now. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about the budget before I go over to the pictures while we're on this slide.
Does anyone have questions?
I
It's
have
nice
a
to
quick
see we're
one.
on budget.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, may I ask you just a quick question?
Yes.
I hope we have a nice contingency budget at the end, but what's the plan if we do? Do we put it into the building, or does it revert back to the general fund, or is that TBD?
Well, once the project's completely closed out, it would revert. It would revert back to the general fund.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's been my end goal all along, is to come in under budget. I think, with COVID, there's been pros and cons, obviously. So maybe at the end of the day, it would have been a wash, but we're doing very well.
Very good. If there aren't any, oh, sorry, Councilmember Coulson.
Thank you. Just really quick, Margaret. So remind me again, furnishings and those things, are they in this budget or?
So some of the stuff was in this budget, and that's why we have fundraising for the special stuff. This was the bare bones budget, and it included contingencies. The photovoltaics, actually right now, they're coming out of contingencies, even they're showing as a separate line item, and that is because they were separately budgeted, but it ended up a change order because we had to make that decision whether we had found funding for it or not. So it is with the general contractor, but with that change order, it came lesser than we had line item budgeted, if that makes sense. But we did not budget for all the the upgrades that we really wanted because we didn't know if we'd have the money through the contingencies.
Okay, so would the contingency money first go to do some of those basic things? And then my second question is, with the photovoltaics, didn't we get a grant? Did we get a federal grant or help from Congresswoman Spear, or are we waiting for that? And how does that work?
I can jump in on that one.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question. So that money is in an appropriations bill, the Transportation, Housing, Urban Development and Related Agencies Housing Bill. It has not passed yet. And I was on a Zoom within the past week or so with our federal lobbyists, and they said they're not sure if the bill will pass. There's a lot of craziness, as we all know, going on in DC right now. So they may roll all the approps bills into a continuing resolution, in which case projects like this won't get funded, but they won't know that for sure. Normally the federal fiscal year ends in October, and all these bills are passed by then, by the end of October, and we would know for sure. But because everything got delayed with the bipartisan infrastructure law and Build Back Better, which is now delayed, this is all kind of on hold. So we won't know. We may be starting from scratch again with that program, or it may pass later than normal.
Great, thank you, Lisa. If there aren't any other questions, let's continue.
All right, so the picture's on the right side. The top picture, and it is an amazing view, is the Fine Arts Studio. So I remember in the old building, it looked out beautifully out on the park. Well, so does this. So the window, I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous up there. The bottom picture is the dance and fitness room. And so the window that you're looking at in the center of the picture actually looks out over the green roof. And then I just thought we would share the fundraising efforts to date. We have some very generous community members who will be acknowledged on the building. And I thought it would be nice so you know which community members are supporting some of the extra special stuff that will be going into these spaces. The other thing that's rolling out right now is the commemorative plaques. So we will have commemorative plaques on the wall. That will be, that's rolling out, and you can go to the Capital Campaign website, which is burlingamecommunitycenter.org, if you're interested on purchasing a plaque and having your name up on the wall in the lobby. One of the things that we are also going to do with some of these funds, and I'm going to use the Janiyah Johnson Trust as an example that is sponsoring our senior space, is we have a senior nutrition fund. And so some of the residual money will go into that fund. And for the first few years, we will be able to do some lunches that will be free for our seniors, as well as providing coffee, tea, and then some very simple snacks in the room whenever they're there. Our hope is to do that also for the teen space and some of the other rooms. So there'll be some funds, which sometimes are hard to come by budget-wise, but they will make those rooms stronger and get us going when we first open. And then the upstairs, so the picture to the left is also the dance fitness room, but it's looking out from the other direction from where the green roof is. And the bottom, and I wish the wood wasn't on the doors, but the glass hasn't gone in yet, is the community hall. So once we get the community hall glass in, I'll have to take a picture so you can see it, because it doesn't do it justice with all the light that will be coming in, but they're big openings and there's too much stuff in there that somebody can do some shenanigans with. And then a final few pictures. The top left is from the parking lot. Looking at the left would be, the left side of it is the entrance. So you'd be sitting looking at the lobby, there's a meeting room there, and then the catering kitchen and one of the entrances is to the right, kind of where that dumpster is in that location. The bottom left is an aerial view before they did the paving of the lot, so you can see the upper one had that paving, but when they did this last aerial view, they didn't take a picture from this angle, but I thought it'd be nice so you could see the parking lot as well as the entrance to the underground parking. So in that lot, you would come in and you'd go to your right and circulate around, and there is a drop-off zone on the left side. There will be ADA parking up above, but we are also going to have temporary parking for seniors in particular during the day when many of their things will be going on. That will be additional parking for them, so they do not have to walk any farther than they need to get into the building. And we'll also have some EV charging on the right side of the parking lot. And then the picture on the right, you'll see that pathway has had its first layer of asphalt put in, and you'll see our signature tree. That's towards the bottom of the picture, but that is the aerial view looking at it if you were up in the air from the ballpark, looking at the facility. And if you look on the very right of the roof, you'll see the first L shape of the PVs going in on that picture. And if anybody wants to go out on a tour and check it out, the walls are all in. I mean, we're still just a few more windows and doors to go in, but it's really taking shape. I'd be happy to take you out there to go look at it. And if you have any other questions, please let me know.
Great, thank you, Margaret. It's been pretty neat to see the progression of this, community center. I toured it when just the steel beams were up and the rebar and so forth. So it's just, it's great to see how much has been done in a relatively short time period. So it'll be nice to see it opened, next year. Colleagues, any questions, any comments? Nope. Okay, thank you very much, Margaret.
You're welcome. All right, how do I exit share? Let's see, end slideshow, but Megan, can you boot me off it?
There we go.
Thank you.
Great. All right. So we'll go into public comment right now. So members of the public may speak about any item not on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to suggest an item for a future council agenda may do so during the public comment period. The Ralph M. Brown Act prohibits the city council from acting on any matter that is not currently on the agenda. So I'm going to open it up to public comment. And is there anyone that would like to speak? Okay, if not, I will go back to my colleagues. First, before we move on, Megan, were there any public comments through email?
No, there were not.
Okay, very good. All right, so then on to the consent calendar. So we have items 8A through 8I. Anyone want to pull anything off? Nope. All right, I'm going to open it up to the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to pull an item off the consent calendar? All right, if not, I'll go back to my colleagues. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move to approve item 8A through 8I on the consent.
Second.
Okay, there's a tie. So motion made by Councilmember Beach, seconded by Councilmember Brownrigg. Can we have a roll call? Megan, please.
Councilmember Beach,
Yes.
Councilmember Coulson,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownrigg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ortiz,
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. We do not have any public hearings this evening, so we'll move on to item 10, which is the staff reports and communications. And we are going to start with our annual report on the sustainability progress. And I think we have Sigal on Zoom to give us a presentation. Sigal Michael.
Hi.
Very good. Hi, Sigal. How are you?
Good. Thank you for
Good.
having me. And I think Megan is going to get the presentation up and running. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for having me tonight to talk about our progress in sustainability over the year. Next slide. I'll start with our most impactful climate strategy to date that will continue to be the most impactful, which is Peninsula Clean Energy. The fact that we've enrolled all our residents in it and the city's enrolled in it is by far the largest greenhouse gas reduction strategy for the city. We get an annual summary from Peninsula Clean Energy, and they recently told us that their estimated savings for our residents close to $1 million. And to date, we've avoided 23,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions, which is a huge deal. If you think about that, our 2030 goal is to reduce by 50,000. A big part of that was since the beginning of this year, Peninsula Clean Energy is 100% carbon free, which is going to continue making a big difference in future years. And they recently announced a goal that in 2025, they'll be 100%, or they're on the path to 100% renewable energy to provide that 24 hours, 7 days a week, leading, I think, all the community choice aggregation programs out there. Next slide. This will be familiar to you. Just a couple weeks ago, we passed a couple ordinances and MOUs for SB 1383, the composting for all new regulation that's coming through all California and Burlingame. It will start in the beginning of the year, but only be enforced in 2024. Until then, we have our opportunity to get all businesses and residents on board. We're already working towards that with downtown Burlingame and Broadway business districts and multifamily buildings and Recology, Rethink Waste, and Office of Sustainability are our partners throughout all of it. And in specific, Office of Sustainability will be running the edible food recovery program on our behalf. And a large challenge that still hasn't been worked out is the purchase of recycled organics that the city will have to do. As of now, it's quite a large amount, quite a few truckloads full of compost or mulch, but as every city is facing a similar challenge, and it's going to be challenged to the state, and also the county is working on our behalf to help figure this out for all of their cities. Next slide. And we really made a lot of headway with EV infrastructure this year. In 2020, we passed an EV action plan with targets to have by 2030, 100 EV stations and 5,000 registrations for electric vehicles. You could see that number is climbing up. This year, with Highland Garage opening, we have 36 electric vehicle stations in our city, and quite a few more EV registrations since the year prior. Next year, I'm really looking forward to implementing the pretty significant grant we received from Cali VIP of $300,000 to install fast and level 2 chargers in the library. And we're also doing some future programming for other locations, such as Bayside Park, Courtyard, and Community Center. And what that means is PCE is helping us pull together a package so that when opportunities do arise for grants or any other, maybe an RFP once we're ready, or funding money, that we'll have it ready to go, and we'll know the technical challenges, space challenges, anything that would be needed for those spaces. And that image of a postcard is something we distributed both to the Highland community, all the residents around there, because it's a lot of multifamily buildings, so that they know they have these EV charging stations nearby. And we did something similar for the EV Go stations, announcing that there's Tesla, it accommodates Tesla vehicles, and just gave the postcards to the neighborhood so that they know they have this amenity nearby. Next slide, please. I just thought it'd be helpful to put a map of showing where the EV stations are right now. The green is existing and the red is priority or upcoming. And I made a sort of a radius so that you could see where that about a half mile of residents within those locations. And those are also where the majority of multifamily residents reside in Burlingame. So there's still some gaps, but we're working on them. But I think we're going to be pretty well positioned as years to come. Next slide. This is a summary of our ongoing programs. And we have the REACH code that we adopted the year before. I talked to the building department, and about 20 homes have received permits for all electric. Those are homes that have went through either very large renovations or brand new homes are now all electric. We've also done our annual Centers program, which is, we don't get too many new solar programs from it, but I do get quite a few requests every year of what from specific residents of what renewable solar program we offer. So it's nice to be able to point to one for when they're ready. Our BASCA programming of classes and rebates is still going strong. We're doing our induction cooktop. It's been about a year and we've had 25 residents, which equates about we have one set and each one loans it for 2 weeks, and that's been going really well, getting a lot of good feedback. We also have plastic bag recycling that is going to Trex through Safeway to Trex they make all sorts of outdoor and deck materials out of it. And we have the Bay Leos Club to thank for really taking on that program. I started it in the city and they took it on and grew it. So thank you to them. And then just our regular outreach working with the Citizens Environmental Council. I also got to, that image on the slide is some pop-up art display on downtown Burlingame that some of the empty storefronts let us use. And we're trying, thank you to Jennifer Lee for being active on Instagram. She's really good on it. I contribute a bit, but she's really the one that makes it as interesting as it is. Next slide, please. And I like to always connect things back to our climate action plan, just to show that we're making pretty good headway on it, and all our efforts really connect back to that climate action plan and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And we're in a pretty good position. We're addressing almost every one of our 20 measures. I just highlighted the top ones over here. And last slide, I think, Megan. And just wanted to talk about what I expect in the next coming year that we should be excited about. I think we're going to be talking a lot about waste. The disposable foodware ordinance is going to be implemented in March, and we have the compliance with SB 1383. So really hope to continue growing our waste diversion and composting programs. And to go with that, we'll be hopefully seeing a lot less of plastic disposable waste in our downtown areas and restaurants. I'm excited about the fast chargers coming into the main library's parking lot, and that's going to be complementive also of the new EV charging stations with the community center as well. And then last, I really like to explore e-mobility, bike, scooter, and car sharing in Burlingame. We've all know, can remember our line bike experience. It was bittersweet, and I think it's time to bring another program to Burlingame. Other cities are exploring programs that are similar size cities to us. We've sort of line bike and the big companies left a lot of the small cities to go for the larger markets. And I think some programs, we've been approached by Bird, and there's other programs out there that are trying to cater more to the needs of smaller cities that may not have the demand of the large ones, but there's still a need recognized. So I hope to bring that to you in a future study session for some guidance. And that's it. Thank you for a great sustainability year.
Great, thank you, Sigal. You've done a lot of work this past year, and we've made a lot of progress in this area. Vice Mayor, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for that great report. That makes me feel really good about being part of the city and doing our part to make things better. I have a quick question on the EV charging stations. Now it's become a real important issue for me. So any thoughts of adding EV charging stations in the parks?
Yes, well, there will be some in the community center, and we hope to have some. We're looking at opportunities, but Bayside Park is a major one that we think will be really high use. And then working with Margaret as we identify other locations, but Bayside Park is the high priority one. I don't know if you have recommendations for other parks. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, Wright Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Council Member Brownrigg.
Hi, I'm so sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. First of all, they say that budgets are a reflection of values. So I really want to thank Sigal. And I remember when we made the decision to bring in a sustainability coordinator for our city. And I think it's made such a difference. If you don't have resources against an objective, then things languish or don't get done. So congratulations, Sigal, for all of the work and helping promote our city in this endeavor. And I wanted to thank, I guess you, Sigal. I didn't know who to thank for the plastic bag recycling. A lot of the supermarkets aren't doing that anymore. And, our family had largely, gotten rid of plastic bags from our lives. But then with all the takeout food with COVID, that, they've started multiplying again. So I was delighted to see it in City Hall. I don't know how many other people know it's there. It's a terrific service. And so whatever we can do to promote that, I think will generate a lot of goodwill. So thank you, Sigal.
Sure. It's sort of good news and bad news how quickly those bins fill up every week. But they really do.
I'm not at all surprised. I mean,
Yeah.
All of the markets used to do it, and now very few of them do.
Councilmember Beach, followed by Councilmember Coulson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And to Councilmember Brownrigg's point, thank goodness they're filling up at City Hall as opposed to the landfill. So bravo. This is always one of our favorite presentations of the year. It's always so great to quantify all the work that you've done and that the city's done. And so thank you for the presentation, Sigal. And also thank you for the upcoming study session. It'll be a great conversation about e-mobility options and car share. I think that's going to be such an important part of our future growth and sustainable transportation. I'm so excited from what I've learned about some of the different bike and scooter shares and what's called geofencing that really helps tailor where these e-mobility options are even allowed to travel or park. And the technology has really come a long way since the days of Lime Bike a few years ago. So it'll be a really good conversation ahead. Thank you for your work on it.
Councilmember Coulson.
So a question and then a quick comment. I know that another big part of our sustainability plan, our climate action plan, had to do with the electrification of Caltrain. There's that component too, Sigal. So I'm wondering if we could, when we do an update, if we could include sort of an electrification update where we are with, I know Michael and I had a bit of a fire drill almost now 3 years ago, it feels like, on the parallel station 3 that I think is, maybe an update on how that's going and the coordination with the courtyard and if that's all running smoothly, and then just kind of where it all is. As I understand, there's some financial issues and just other things. So I think it was just part of the whole plan, and that was another big component. Peninsula Clean Energy, I'm very proud of the work that we're doing over there. I think all of you can really take a look at the programs that we're offering. Not all of them are applicable into Burlingame, but we got a big update on this, and we were able to participate in the EV bike reimbursement. I think we had 11 people that participated in that. So these are small little things around the edges, but they are, if we can expand the programs and move them forward, I think they'll become more and more meaningful and impactful. And then finally, just to maybe Syed, I don't know if we can do this or not, but I've noticed when I'm downtown at my office that there are a lot of people coming off the roundabout and then they're circling around all the parking lots. And I stood there one day and literally flagged down 20 cars and said, "Hey, did you know we have a new parking lot over there? Hey." I felt like I needed a sandwich board and like a giant arrow saying parking this way, like to be one of those people on the street. And I'm just curious if there's a way that maybe we could, on days that aren't rainy and really awful, but are busy, like Thursdays and Fridays in particular, we couldn't put some sandwich boards right at the entrances to some of those lots. Or right at the beginning, just saying, if the lot's full, please consider using our lot on Lorton, whatever the address is, so people could just plug it in and maybe pop over there. Every single person who I said, oh, we have a big lot over there, we have a lot over there, they were all like, oh, we didn't know. Great, we'll drive right there now. So on the ground information.
Yeah, I did. Staff will follow up on that. Look at possible ways of improving the wayfinding signage, or just drop in some signage on certain days of the week.
It's very simple, nothing too complicated or anything. I think if people come from out of town, they're not reading our newsletter, they don't know we have it. So that might be a nice way to start to indoctrinate everyone. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Sigal, for all the work you do. It's a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you, Councilmember Coulson. You do bring up a good point. I noticed this weekend, there were kind of many cars circling around with parking, and I was actually, I parked at the garage this weekend, but there was like 268 available parking spaces. So it's just a matter of increasing the knowledgeability to the community that it is available. So I do like the idea of the sandwich boards. We did have a few of those on Burlingame Avenue. But, sometimes people are saying, well, where's Highland? They don't know where the street is. And so even, directional arrows might be also helpful. After spending all that money and doing the garage, you want it to be able to be utilized. So we may want to also put that in the e-news just on a continual basis for a while, so people know it's there.
Even maybe if we do another table at the at the farmer's market for any reason, for anything, maybe there would be a good place to have like a map. Yeah, I'm envisioning council members taking like a couple hours on a Sunday morning with the giant arrow. But I think that's a little above and beyond the call of duty, so I won't ask. But I guess, just making sure that maybe even letting the merchants know that when they send their e-newsletters out, so a lot of them do have their little, like Runner's Mind sends one out, and different restaurants in different places send out their e-news. Maybe they can put it on their social media, and they could pop it on in their own e-news saying, hey, patrons, if you're coming and you're frustrated about parking, park there and walk.
Very good. Thank you again, Sigal. Very good presentation. Moving forward, we have our council committee and activities reports and announcement. Does anyone have anything to add? All right, under future agenda items, I do have one item. I would actually like to see futuristically, and I did have a talk with Director Murtuza. I'd like to see a presentation from PG&E. I've had a few constituents that have emailed me multiple times that are quite frustrated with the power outages. And so it would be nice to receive an update from PG&E and kind of an explanation of why the power is going out so frequently, and how they're addressing these issues, and is this going to continue on like this, or how are they going to improve the infrastructure so we're not having these frequent power outages? So if I have other council members that would support that.
Absolutely, Madam Mayor. We suffered a whole day and a half of a power outage at the bank and for some time at home, and it was very disruptive, and I would love to hear some answers. So thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, perfect. So if we can just put that on the crystal ball, Lisa, that would be great. And then hopefully we'll be able to get an update in the near future. Councilmember Coulson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was wondering if we could tack on to that as well, the conversation around hookups, because these hookups are taking 4, 6, 8 months sometimes for new construction on single family homes, and they're holding the whole process up. So maybe they could throw that in too.
Yes, I would agree on that. Actually, I was just speaking to a constituent that said they've been waiting almost a year for a hookup for an ADU. So I think that would be beneficial just to get as much of that information in one presentation. All right, good. Anyone else want to add anything? No? Okay. All right. So on to our ceremonial part of the evening. We are going to start out here with, we have a few dignitaries that are here this evening. So I would like to acknowledge Mayor Medina and also Vice Mayor Gina Pepin for being here this evening. So thank you. So we'll start out with my outgoing message, and then there'll be an explanation of the rotation, and then Vice Mayor Ortiz will become our mayor, and he may have some remarks also. I'd like to start out saying that I am truly honored to have served Burlingame as mayor for the 4th time. The job of mayor is a personal one, especially since I have been brought up here in Burlingame. It has allowed me to feel and appreciate the goodness of my community. It inspires me to work harder, to do more, and to do better. It has also been important to see the well-being of our residents here in Burlingame. Through all my encounters and communications, I also get to know what enriches your lives in addition to what makes you proud of your city. This last year, we have worked together and undertook aspirations into reality. We have been embroiled in controversy at times, but we kept going forward in order to find compromise until our goals were achieved. Our unique community spirit and generosity continues to play an important part in getting through this past year. The COVID pandemic has affected our city in the most fundamental ways. It has impacted our everyday lives and our interactions with family and friends, our workplaces, schools, our frontline service workers, and our businesses. Charities, community groups, churches, and neighbors have come together to support those in need and those on the front line. The scale of that effort has been so impressive, and I think it is a testament to the true spirit of the people of this council and the people in our departments. It demonstrates people's remarkable resilience, and that is something that sets us in good standing as we take the next steps in continuing on our recovery journey together. All our achievements this past year are due to the good people of our community and all of our hardworking city employees who I've had privilege to work with, in addition to my city council colleagues. We have had quite a productive year in 2021, and it's actually pretty hard to figure out where to start. The council continued to address issues related to COVID. This entailed the continual safety assessment of our employees and the public. Our beloved library, led by Director Brad McCulley, opened to the public on the 15th of June, and the City Hall opened on the 7th of September. Our Parks and Rec Department, led by Director Margaret Glomstad and her team, never skipped a beat as they continued to work throughout the pandemic, whether it was music in the park, St. Patrick's Day car parade, miniature golf, summer camps, golf tournaments, or visits from Santa. Our employees kept our community engaged. Our Community Development Department, led by Director Gardner and his team, processed building and planning permits remotely, which made it much easier for many of our community members. In addition, people were able to schedule appointments with the building and planning staff in the afternoons. There were multiple goals the council decided to focus on this year with the support of you, our community members. One of those entailed the continual work with Caltrans on the El Camino project. The purpose of this project was rehabilitate the roadway, reduce flooding, improve visibility, and upgrade the pedestrian infrastructure. The city manager, Caltrans, city staff, and council members Brownrigg and Beach worked on presentation materials that were utilized this year during 2 public meetings that embraced public comment for the draft EIR. We do hope that construction will begin in 2024. The Broadway grade separation has continued to be on the top of our list. It has been difficult to get funding for this $327 million project, and at this time, we have received approximately $27 million. I commend our staff in putting together the INRA grant application. Even though we received 28 support letters from various legislators, we were again unsuccessful in securing funding. Syed Bertuzza, our Public Works Director, and his team have been working diligently in trying to reduce costs to the project by approximately $44 million. These changes will lead to savings in construction time and fewer disruptions to motorists, cyclists, pedestrians traveling through that intersection. Moving to district elections has been a huge undertaking for our city. A huge thank you goes out to our city clerk, Megan Hasselshire, and city manager, Lisa Goldman, for taking on this incredible task. This year, we started the process of transitioning district elections by gathering input from community members who were asked to create maps to define boundaries where candidates must live to run for office. We had 4 public hearings on the transition to district elections. Our maps were based on state regulations, which included relatively equal population size, contiguous, maintaining communities of interest, follow city, council, local government lines, and keeping districts compact in both appearance and function. From the input from our residents, we initially developed 3 maps and added a 4th map due to additional input from our public, which we ultimately agreed upon. Even though we as council feel at-large elections encourage an inclusive opportunity for candidates to run for office, we worked close with our community and strongly encouraged feedback in order to develop district elections as fairly as possible. Megan was kind of like Waldo during the last few months. She was everywhere in Burlingame conducting outreach to make sure everyone understood this complicated process and had the opportunity to offer their opinions. I would also like to thank Andrew Quokka for his work in assisting Megan in this endeavor. I do hope with district elections that candidates take a holistic view toward Burlingame issues and do what is best for the whole. We must continually be guided by the standard of excellence exhibited by our employees and council in Burlingame. We have the responsibility to seek excellence in everything we do. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has been devastating for our city revenues, particularly around our TOT. We went from a high of almost 25.5 million in fiscal year 2018-19 to 5.74 million in 2020-21. Our hotels may not recover economically until 2024. We continue to keep up with our capital improvements throughout the city. In addition, we have focused on helping our small businesses survive during the pandemic with the allowance of the parklets, which have proven to be quite successful. We extended the original termination date of allowing the parklets from September 2021 through at least Labor Day of 2022. And we are currently working finalizing fee and rent structure for the program. I would like to give credit to Niall Blackburn, who is our assistant to the city manager, and Joe Sanfilippo, our economic development coordinator, who put together a Shop Local campaign, encouraging Burlingame residents to patronize our local stores rather than shopping online. Their theme, Love Local, Buy Local, Choose Burlingame initiative, included a 10-week Pledge to Choose Burlingame campaign with weekly $50 prize drawings on social media. It was fun to see people post where they were shopping in Burlingame, in addition to touting their favorite stores. The Economic Development Subcommittee, consisting of Vice Mayor Ortiz and Councilmember Brownrigg, have been strong advocates during this past year in helping our Burlingame businesses. As you are all aware, housing has been a top issue for Burlingame the last few years. It is nice to see the Village of Burlingame progressing forward to an estimated completion summer or fall of 2023. To remind you, this project includes constructing a new 5-story, 132-unit affordable workforce and senior apartment development, in which it includes a public park. Our intent is for the units to be rented by people who work in Burlingame and for Burlingame seniors. The public parking garage next to this housing development was recently completed, and there's plenty of parking available now in our downtown area. This year has been busy in developing the North Rollins Road specific plan, in which Councilmember Colson and myself have been working as a subcommittee on this project. The city held a series of meetings with a community advisory committee, which also included representatives from various city commissions and local businesses. We just received an update on this project in the beginning of December, and we anticipate the adoption of the plan in early 2022. We have adopted interim zoning standards, which will accommodate new development proposals until the zoning ordinance update is completed and while the North Rollins specific plan is being prepared. Our vision as a council, with the input from our Burlingame residents, is a creation of a completely new neighborhood where residents and businesses have access to transit and public-private open space amenities. We envision a variety of types of housing that will address the needs of all income levels in Burlingame. In addition, there will be a focus on open space and an emphasis on developing pedestrian and bicycle pathways. This was once in a lifetime opportunity to create a neighborhood which will promote a walkable and livable environment that will accommodate increased housing density near public transit. Sea level rise has also been a top priority of this council this year. I do think Councilmember Colson has become the regional sea level rise guru with the assistance of Councilmember Brownrigg. The council approved the submission of a grant application for Burlingame, Millbrae, San Francisco International Airport Sea Level Rise Protection Project under FEMA's Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Program in partnership and coordination with One Shoreline. The shoreline area north of Broadway in Burlingame was identified as the high priority area in the previously conducted sea level rise studies. Burlingame has become the first city in the Bay Area to incorporate sea level rise into its zoning and building codes. This is a huge groundbreaking step to address this issue. We have approved a new zoning map that would require the rising waters to be taken account along our bayfront. New buildings will have to abide by new regulations, which will require first floors to be raised, in addition to maintaining and enhancing infrastructure like seawalls to allow extra room for infrastructure to be constructed. Continuing with the bayfront area, the council recently approved the allowance of life science use. This allows us a little more revenue diversity. Regarding other developments in Burlingame, we broke ground at the old post office site September of this year. This project will preserve the former post office lobby, converting it into an iconic ground floor retail, which will open to the future Burlingame Town Square. This proposal for the development of this important downtown property promises a building that will contribute much to the fabric of downtown Burlingame, while acknowledging the importance this legacy property has to the community. The town square will serve as a gathering place for a community for decades to come. I am quite proud to see the progression of our community center project. Work is progressing each day. The community center is on schedule to open for summer programming in 2022. I will say I am a little jealous that Vice Mayor Ortiz will be the mayor for this ribbon cutting. He has the best of luck being mayor for large project openings. Just a reminder, our capital campaign is in full swing. So if you would like to donate, please feel free to visit burlingamecommunitycenter.org. I would also like to take this time to congratulate both our new city attorney, Michael Gina, and our new finance director, Helen Yu Scott, to our Burlingame family. They have transitioned well into their new roles. Kathleen Kane, our former city attorney, and Carol Augustine, our former finance director, were just exemplary in their roles here in Burlingame, and they are greatly missed. On a little bit of a side note, I had the pleasure of hosting Mayor for the Day 2 weeks ago and had the privilege of hanging out with Mayor Olivia Bell, a 5-year-old student who attends Roosevelt School. She came to City Hall quite prepared with her 3-point plan. Donuts for everyone, make sure all people are safe, in Burlingame, and finally, great playgrounds for all residents. As her father relayed to me, the work goes on, the hope still lives, but the dream of free donuts will never die. I would like to thank Lisa Goldman, our city manager, Megan Hasselshire, city clerk, Kevin Gardner and Ruben Hurin from planning, Public Works Director Syed Ratusa, Fire Chief Bruce Barron, and Police Chief Mike Matucci for making Olivia feel special and explain their duties to their community. Of course, all the swag she received was a great big plus. When making decisions, we need to look well into the future and ask ourselves if what we are considering will still be deemed excellent in 10, 20, or even 50 years. This council has been challenged with many issues this year, and we have shown we can work together to achieve goals. It is easy to willingly accept mediocrity, but it's hard to demand excellence. But that is what this great city and its residents deserve. We have a duty to leave our city not only beautiful, but more beautiful than how we found it. Secondly, we must also do more to listen and respect each other, especially when there is a difference of opinion. People need to learn to compromise, as difficult as it may be. Leadership that demonstrates courage and honor should not be an exception, but the bare minimum our constituents require of us. We as officials need to demonstrate courage to do the right thing for all our community members. Unfortunately, many demonstrate a lack of courage to do the right thing because of the fear of party lines and influences outside of our community. I do hope I have demonstrated that I vote my conscience for all of Burlingame, and that independent thought has been of the utmost importance. As Abraham Lincoln said, let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith, let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it. I have been blessed to work with extraordinary staff who've been thoughtful, honorable, and diligently working with our residents. I thank my colleagues for their dedication and commitment to our city. Even through a pandemic, you rose to the challenge with grace. Our unique community spirit and generosity played an important part in getting through this past year. I would also like to thank my family and friends who have been very supportive of me during this past year and for giving me the drive to take on this role for the fourth time. We sit here tonight on Zoom with light at the end of the tunnel after a very challenging year, and I am hopeful that we will have better times ahead. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Ricardo Ortiz in becoming our mayor this coming year. I know he will lead us to another productive and successful year in 2022. Thanks again to everyone for your support, and I look forward to working with my colleagues this coming year. So those are my comments for this evening. First, before I go into the explanation of the council resolution, would anyone like to make any comments? Councilmember Coulson.
Thank you very much. Mayor Ann O'Brien, before you transition over to Ricardo, I just want to, I'm one of the lower, least serving tenured council members here. And I look at your, I think now going on 16 years of service for the city of Burlingame, and 4-time mayors, so one time in almost every term in which you've held office. And I know that is maybe not the record, but it's close to it. And then 8 years on the Planning Commission, which totals, by the time you're done, will total a quarter century of work. I just want to recognize that and thank you for those years and years of service to the city of Burlingame. It's unusual that somebody does that much work for that long of a time. And, I'm sure people are thinking you started when you were 25, but it's been almost half your life. And I say that not jokingly, but you've really been a person who has dedicated, when you say dedicated your life to public service, you've done it for one city, the county, and the region in a way that very few people do. So just thank you and recognizing that quarter century of service.
Thank you, Councilmember Coulson. Is there anyone else? Okay, I'm going to open it up to public comment. I do see Vice Mayor Gina Pappin's hand up.
There we go. Hello. Mayor O'Brien, I just wanted to thank you very much for your cooperation, your willingness to work together with the other cities and also with me on MTC issues, which we hope to continue our efforts for all the cities in San Mateo County, and also working with your city on some recent funding coming down from MTC. Hopefully jointly we can work together on all this, but it has been a complete pleasure working with you. Thank you for being so accessible. Burlingame is very lucky to have had you in this leadership position. And I'm sure the incoming mayor, Mr. Ortiz, will continue those efforts. So thank you very, very much. And everybody, happy holidays.
Great, thank you very much, Vice Mayor Pappin. And yes, we always look forward to working with our neighboring city, and MTC is going to be important to us as we all need funding for various transportation issues. So I would also like to thank you, Vice Mayor Pappin, for being our representative for MTC. You have definitely served us well. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to say a few words? Okay, if not, I will go back to my colleagues and I will explain the council resolution that determines the selection of mayor and vice mayor. In 1999, the council adopted a formal rotation procedure for mayor of the city. This procedure ensures that each council member will become mayor in a routine, pre-established order. Tonight, pursuant to that procedure, it is my pleasure to turn the office of mayor and presiding officer of this council over to Ricardo Ortiz for the coming 12 months. So we will have now Vice Mayor Ortiz will become our mayor, and Council Member Brownwood will become our vice mayor. So I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Ortiz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor or Council Member O'Brien. Thank you, thank you. I had some notes of recognition for not only the last fabulous year that you just had, but all the many, many, many years. But Council Member Coulson kind of stole my thunder, and she said it beautifully. The only thing I would like to change from what she said is I don't think you started at 25, it was more like 15. So with that, I just want to, again, thank you for everything you did, and thank you for the many, many years. Thank you also to all my colleagues who have made this such a wonderful year, and especially with everything that we've gone through, and we've managed to move ahead and get some of our projects forward. And that's also thanks to staff. So I want to say a special thanks to Lisa Goldman and her staff. And it's been just a wonderful, just a real true pleasure working with you. And you have just a wonderful group working for you. To our new city attorney, welcome. We're really glad to have you, and looking forward to, the few times that we've met and we've talked, it's been wonderful. So I look forward to many more meetings. And like I said, we do have some tricky times ahead with our COVID. I don't see that our TOT, our hotel tax, is going to recover anytime soon. But with that, we just need to continue forward. And thinking about continuing forward, the things that excite me about this next new year. Number one is the sign dancing in front of Councilmember Coulson's office, just to point them to our new parking structure. But truly, the one thing that sticks out for me looking ahead is the ribbon cutting for the community center. As a brand new council member, back in 1994, I sat there at the Citizens Advisory Committee and talking about these issues. And it just seemed like such a long shot. It was just so far away. We had no funding. It was just crazy ideas that we were throwing around in the board. I remember sitting there listening to all these great things, thinking, how are we going to pay for this? And now, all these years later, here we are. And we just saw the presentation, and wow, really, really is amazing. And I'm really, really happy to be the mayor for this special occasion. So other things that I'm really excited about, I'm excited about in-person council meetings. I like the Zoom, it works well. And I think there's some people who have been able to communicate that haven't in the past, but I can't wait to just be on the chambers and sitting next to you guys and having real meetings with people that, in the audience. El Camino, I wish it was happening during my tenure, but it sounds like it's going to be a little further, but that is an important project that we need to continue. The city attorney, Mr. Guina, promised me that there would be a groundbreaking for Top Golf this year, so I'm looking forward to that. But I know that a lot of people are very excited about Top Golf coming to town, and I think that we are pushing forward, and hopefully we can get some resolution. Now, as far as the housing and what we talked to, people have called us some names here in Burlingame, which just to remind everybody, we have approved 1,543 net new units of housing approved. 279 of those are going to be below market rate. So for those who would call us NIMBYists, I think we have some other things coming. We did rezone our north end to create a brand new neighborhood. And I'm looking forward to, we do have some challenges there. The thing is sprouting up faster than we expected, and we do need to move quickly to make sure we do have set some land aside to do what we need to do in that neighborhood. So I look forward to working with the committee, pushing for that one. I love the presentation for sustainability. I think that is something that we're going to continue to pay close attention to moving forward. And I just really look forward to working with all of you. I've enjoyed my association with all of you. And I think that we have made Burlingame a better place to live. We have made a big difference, and I look forward to another year of moving the needle forward. So thank you all. I look forward to having a great year. Thank you very much. And now I'm in charge, and I'm supposed to know what to do next. So with that, are we just going to adjournment? Do we want to open it up for comments? Comments. Yes. Megan saying yes. So we're going to open it up for comments. I see Councilmember Beach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first want to thank and acknowledge our former mayor, O'Brien, for her dedication and commitment to Burlingame. We appreciate your leadership last year, and we're very excited to work under your leadership to another great year, Mayor Ortiz. It's great to have you at the helm as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember. I think Council or Vice Mayor Brownrigg had his hand up. Somebody needs to change the Zoom title.
I actually think Councilmember Coulson might have beat me to the punch, but I'll go ahead. So just very briefly, I probably should have done it before when Mayor O'Brien was mayor, but I just wanted to thank both Mayor Beach and Mayor O'Brien and City Manager Goldman for steering us through the last 2 years of COVID. It has not been easy being mayor. It has not been at all easy being city manager. And we didn't dwell on the budget report, and consent, but, this city has taken a big punch in the mouth from COVID and has done remarkably well. And all of your leadership helped keep the community together. It put resources into community projects that needed it. It kept us working for each other, not against each other. and no one was ever the enemy. And I just want to thank all three of you for making that a reality over the last 2 years, 2 very difficult years. And then I just want to personally salute Mayor O'Brien. I have had the good fortune of working shoulder to shoulder with her in a lot of those years, both on Planning Commission and on City Council. And I know how resolute she is in fighting for what's best for Burlingame, in not worrying about what other people think, but doing what she thinks is right. And it's really so I've had the great privilege of working closely with Mayor O'Brien for many years. And so I just wanted to personally thank her for the last year and for being a COVID year. And I hope that Mayor Ortiz, you do have the great good fortune of a lot of great ribbon cuttings, including, bringing us back into City Hall. So that would be a wonderful thing. And I'll leave it there, but thank you all for helping get us through these last 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Those are very nice comments. And with that, Councilmember Coulson.
Thank you. First of all, apologies, Mayor Ortiz, for overstepping my bounds at the beginning there with regard to Mayor O'Brien. But I also want to just acknowledge that I think we're all very incredibly fortunate to have you stepping in to take the helm. I think Councilman or Vice Mayor Brownrigg points out, each year, normally when we all run in council, it's kind of like crescendo, right? The next year gets better, and then the monies gets more, and then the next year got better. And this has been, each particular mayorship has had to deal with its own unique challenges and transitional elements. And I think the right people have been in the seat at the right time. And I think you are the right mayor for now. I think your community, your ability to bring the community together, to move people forward, your sense of humor, which keeps everything kind of light and moving in the right direction and moving forward, is really appreciated by all of us. And you just have the right tenor to, start on the road back to some celebration. And again, acknowledging Mayor Beach and then Mayor O'Brien for their hard work during what I'm going to call the devastation years, which were the ones that were really hard, and how well you two stewarded that. And I'm looking forward to the emergence and the stewardship that you will offer the city over this next year. It's a pleasure to work with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Councilmember Coulson. That was very nice. And I'm not offended at all that you took my thunder away. What you did was phenomenal as far as recognizing Councilmember O'Brien and her many, many years of service. So I appreciate it. I'm not at the least bothered. So with that, any other comments? And then does anybody have anybody that we want to adjourn in their honor? And having none, are we ready to adjourn? Okay, here we go, guys.
Where's the champagne and cake, Mr. Mayor?
I know. I have some downstairs, so come on over. So thank you guys. Looking forward to a great year. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.